Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all the honor, the praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodesh. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, Ruel, peace and salutations to the elect scattered abroad. This is Brother Bible's out here with a lesson, and Lord willing, that's edifying. And this lesson will be entitled Passover State of Mind, right? And, brothers getting into the spirit, going into these, topics, going into the Passover, which, the Passover is a very heavy time to be taken seriously. All right, the solemn assembly. And, we're supposed to treat it as such. All right, because, we getting ready to get delivered, right? We at the end of this kingdom, right? And we got to make sure that, we're right in the spirit, in order to Lord's will be delivered, and be in the right spirit, right? So this is the book of Jeremiah 16 and 14. It says, "Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and all the lands whither he hath driven them, and I will bring them again to the land which I gave their fathers." Yeah. So, when the, we were brought out of Egypt, right? That was the, the first Exodus, right? The great deliverance, because that was a way for the Lord to show his power, right? To, for the Israelites to get delivered. But, we're at the time where we have we need an even greater deliverance from Babylon the Great, from this wicked kingdom. All right. And that's what, the main focus is. Because here we are, we're seeing all the signs, right? We're seeing the signs of the Lord's coming. And currently, we're hastening, right, in the Lord's coming, right? We're coming into the Passover, which, represents us being delivered out of Egypt, right? Which America, we understand that America is spiritually Sodom and Egypt. And this is going to be an even greater deliverance, because when we're in the kingdom, no more will we be talking about the deliverance that we got out of Egypt, but this deliverance that we got out of this place, Babylon. All right. And it says, reading again, verse 15, "But the Lord liveth, that brought the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whither he have driven them." Yeah, the land of the north, meaning America. "And from all the lands where he had driven them, because the elect is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth." You can read that in Matthew the 24th chapter, when the Lord said he's going to gather up the elect from the four winds, because the elect is ultimately scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. "And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers." So that goes to show you that the Lord is going to bring us back to that land. All right. Not the British. All right. Not the Balfour covenant or whatever it's called. All right. The Lord is ultimately going to bring us back to that land. All right. So, this is what's prophesied. And this is also how you know that, the people currently dwelling in that land, right? The small hats, they ain't the people. You see? So right now we got to be in the mindset of, the Passover, because the Passover was never a time of, mirth, rejoicing, having a good time, a lamb dinner. No, it's a solemn assembly, right? Our people ate, of the Passover, which it is a feast, but they ate the feast in haste. All right, because they was getting ready to get delivered out of the land. You see, and just going into it again, right? This isn't a thing of having a good time, right? This is a time of mourning, right? Of deliverance, a time that, we're to purge out the leaven, which is not just the physical leaven, right? Going into, your yeast, leavening agents, but it's also the spiritual leaven, which goes into sin and corruption, you see? So you got to make sure that you're right and not partaking of the Passover unworthily. You see? So this is the book of Proverbs 22:3. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. So, us as servants of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, us hastening in the Lord's coming, watching for the signs of his coming, we're foreseeing the evil. And we're keeping our garments, right? Putting on that spiritual armor. And these people don't have that. They want to pass on, right? In the ignorance is bliss spirit. Don't want to think about the end. Don't want to think about the end of this kingdom. Ain't trying to hear the message of the prophets. And that's why the day of the Lord is going to take them as a thief in the night. Because they're not paying attention to what's actually going on. Neither do they care. They want to keep continuing a life in Babylon the Great. Drinking that wine, right? Partaking in that wine, which goes into the philosophies, the idols, right? The wickedness of this life. Clinging on to the lust of the flesh. That's what these people are about, man. They're not truly about Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right. So that's why, they're going to have to be destroyed. And as we about to read about Luke 17:26, these are likened unto the times of Noah, which Noah was the first, right? The first great destruction going into the flood, right? Which we coming into the second destruction going into that fire, right? So let's read it. This is the book of Luke 17:26. And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark and the flood came and destroyed them all. You see? So we're living in the times of Noah right now, all right? The only difference is that destruction is going to come by fire. And, the elect of this time, represent Noah, because Noah was giving out that message. He was blowing out the trumpet, but nobody wanted to take heed until the day of the flood and the Lord shut the ark. All right, which we building up a spiritual ark. You see? And it says, verse 28, likewise also it was in the days of Lot. They did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. So imagine when Yahweh Shai comes back, the amount of destruction that's going to take place. It's going to be even greater than that of Sodom and Gomorrah, because that was a destruction by fire, right? But the Lord is coming back to destroy, right, Babylon the Great. This place is going to be completely engulfed in flames, man. And those that's not taking heed to this message, they're going to get caught up in that destruction, right? So now it's not the time to be, thinking about a life on this side. Now it's not the time to be in the spirit of mirth, be into the cares of this life. Now is the time to really, repent, focus on this word, focus on suffering for Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Make your body a living sacrifice for Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right? Have faith in the Lord, right? And also the works as well, because the scriptures going to faith without works is dead, So we making our calling and election sure, all right? And Lord's will, Lord's will, we be us in this faith, we can make it, all right? So this is Isaiah 26:20. Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed. And chambers represent the chariots, right? And as we read in the book of Noah, the chambers at that time was the ark, right? Building up that spiritual ark. And remember that the Lord shut the ark. And that's really because every man is you got to work out your own salvation through fear and trembling. All right. You can't save the next man. You really got to focus on you, and having the Lord have mercy on you and be around, like-minded brothers. All right. Because we coming into very, very heavy times. And if you're not right, you're going to get caught up. You're going to get caught up in that destruction. as they were in the flood. But behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood and shall no more cover her slain. So the Lord is coming back for vengeance. The Lord is coming back to execute judgment, right? And you want to be in the good graces of the Lord during that time. You don't want to play around, play games, not take this time serious, thinking about investing into this life, because you're going to get caught up in that destruction. All right. So this is the book of Matthew 24:3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of that coming and of the end of the world? And that's the spirit you got to be in, the spirit to looking for the signs of the Lord's coming, which we're seeing it. All right. Verse 4, and Yahushua answered unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So we're seeing all these things happen. Wars, rumors of wars, right? The beginning of sorrows. Let's read verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines, pestilences, earthquakes in diverse places. And we're seeing that this kingdom is divided on all sides, even amongst, Esau. All right. So we're currently seeing the end of this kingdom. This is why, we have to be serious during these times, because we getting ready to get delivered. We have to be in that Passover state of mind, man. The Passover is very heavy times, man. This is a sifting period, heavy times of prophecy. So we got to make sure that we purging out all that leaven, coming into this thing, because we do not want to take part in this Passover unworthily. You see? Give my next precept. This the book of 2nd Esdras 15:8. I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And we're constantly crying to the Lord, complaining about this place, constantly vexed about being in this kingdom, man. We're not satisfied with this kingdom. All right. This place is wicked as all hell, right? It's out of order. Everything is defiled. We looking for the kingdom. We are hastening. We are hastening the kingdom, man. This place ain't our rest. And we're going to keep complaining continually, because we have faith that the Lord is listening to our cries, is listening to our complaints to this kingdom. And the Lord is actually speeding up the times, right? The days for the elect's sake. You see? So this is the spirit that we got to be in, man. All right. But, that'll do it with the lesson. So Lord willing, is edifying. And with that, I like to give all the honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem, Ra HaKodash. So,